Rafi's Rambles, Rafi's Rambles, Rafi's Rambles.
Hola, you amazing artists, and welcome to the studio. Today, we're going to venture into that age-old question of what is real art anyway? Now, here's the thing. Trying to define what real art is like trying to catch a greased-up eel with chopsticks. It's both elusive and subjective.
Question.
And we're moving on. Art is this vast playground of imagination, and who am I to tell you what real art is or what real art isn't? But hey, let's have some fun looking at what some people consider not real art. Art must be skillful. First up, we have the camp of lack of skill or craftsmanship. You know who I'm talking about. They're the ones that raise an eyebrow at anyone that doesn't have like Michelangelo level of skill.
Even Michelangelo started off as a very small turtle that couldn't do karate at all until he got some years of training.
Here's the thing about skill. There are many different types, many different levels of skill. In fact, Picasso had developed a skill of not looking skillful in his art. And that's the problem with these people, is that they'll dismiss something that they don't see as technical. That's where you run into that limitation, right? So only if something is photorealistic is it real art. And here's the thing. I don't have anything against photorealistic art. I think that it's amazing. It's an amazing skill that needs to be developed over years, but that is just one skill. And the truth is that as artists, we're going to express ourselves however it is that we want. And that's why abstract expressionism is like, that's fine, you keep your technical skills. I'm going to throw paint at the canvas like a boss. Which one is real art? Well, there are some people out there that believe that if it doesn't have technical proficiency, then it's not real art, which I call absolute bull. Art must have meaning. Next on the list are the people that say that the artwork should have a deep meaning behind it. It can't just be frivolous. If it's frivolous, then it's not real art. Those people will turn their noses up at anything that on the surface appears to be devoid of like deep meaning or anything like that.
Which, by the way, is in complete contradiction to the school of thought back in the day that said true art was only for the appreciation and celebration of aesthetics and not for some practical purpose.
So true. Most of the great works that you see are open to interpretation. And I feel like that's the magic of art. There's a lot of artwork out there that's going to connect on a deeper level to certain people and maybe not connect to other people, right? So some people are going to see meaning in it and other people aren't going to see meaning in it. And the truth is that meaning behind the art is completely subjective and it's always open to interpretation. So to say that, well, this piece over here, that's not real art because it's devoid of meaning, simply means that you may not find the meaning. It doesn't make the art any less. It just means you're not connecting with it. Found objects are not art. This is one of those camps that I find extremely fun because there are artists out there that completely defy this thing and have like the ready-mades and things that are already created and all you got to do is slap a label on it and call it art. The beauty of this entire movement is that they flip the art world upside down because you've got people out there that proclaim themselves to be experts on what art is and what art isn't. And a lot of times their reasoning doesn't work across the board. So when Marcel Duchamp put a label on a urinal and put it on a pedestal and named it as a piece of art, I think that that was fantastic.
Yeah, and people loathed him for it. Until they loved him.
That's true. And that's how it works with all of them. Mm-hmm. They loathed them until they loved them. And honestly, art at the end of the day is all about self-expression. And that's a powerful message that was being said in that art. And I know that this one is one of those things that is controversial, right? Because like, does that mean that this tube of paint is a work of art? Well, it depends on what I do with this tube of paint. Picasso said, art washes away the dust of everyday life. And Duchamp basically flushed that down the toilet.
Ooh, zing!
Controversial art is not art. So the next one is controversial art skeptic. There is a camp out there that believes that anything that's provocative, anything that's controversial, that's not real art. And that honestly is ridiculous. They basically make a claim that the art was solely created to just shock the people out there, and in that process, they deem it not real art. But as artists, we know that sometimes what we create, what we have to say, our expression, it's going to ruffle some feathers. Not everybody's going to like it. Not everybody's going to agree with what it is that you're trying to say. Whether you're creating artwork or you're working on a book or you're writing a blog or you're doing a video, not everyone is going to agree on what you have to say. The truth is that art is a great way to express yourself where it's going to ruffle feathers, shake foundations, and cause people to question the status quo.
I thought they liked the controversial art because it's like potentially future historically relevant or something.
They can't decide.
It gives me a headache.
Yeah. Anything not traditional is not art. So there's a very common idea of what is art and what isn't art. And you run into this out there because of the perspective, right, that has existed forever. I know people that unless it's an oil painting of an old ship on the ocean, then it's not real art. Some people look at a lot of the new art, whether it's abstract work, which is not really that new, but digital art, and they scratch their heads. They don't understand what makes that art. But honestly, that's because they don't really understand what art is in the first place. At some point, they were told what art was, and then they just stuck to that status quo. Let's be honest, the tools might be different, but it is art. So stop scratching your head.
Look, if we never ever embraced new tools, we'd still be making all our pictures on a rock with a rock.
With crushed rocks for pigment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I don't like it, then it's not real art. And of course, we have the ultimate wild card, which is personal bias. And that really is at the bottom of everything that people out there are like, that's not real art. Whether it is a creative who is jealous because this person's art is more popular and all they do is like crayon-like drawings, and they're like, well, that's not real art. And they make themselves feel better because they're like, pointing a finger at somebody else's creation is like, well, that's bullshit. I don't understand why I'm struggling, blah, 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 blah. Or it's an art critic out there that gets their jollies off from putting down someone else's creation when they indeed are not creating shit other than criticism. It's always interesting to me, and I find this one utterly baffling because art is subjective. That's something that we all can agree on. Art is subjective. You're not going to like all the art that you see. It doesn't make it any worse or any worse off than the art that you do like. It just means that you like this art, and yeah, I don't really like this style, or I don't like this person's art. That there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the beauty of art, is that art is everyone's personal journey. It's the artist that's creating it, and it's the person that's viewing the art. We all have a unique perspective, as unique as snowflakes.
So let's all try to be open-minded snowflakes and not asshole ones.
Whole snowflakes.
Yeah. Nobody likes asshole snowflakes.
So at the end of the day, all art is subjective as far as calling something real art or not real art. And I know this is a controversial subject, and there's going to be people out there talking about a banana duct taped to a wall or invisible sculptures and things like that. And to be honest with you, I really kind of love all that craziness that happens in the art world. You might be pissed off because it sold for several $1,000s or whatever, but really, you're just seeing the surface of it. I love when artists challenge the status quo of the art world with something ridiculous like that, then gets like highbrow kind of responses. It just reminds us of how silly it is to take this shit so seriously. The reason that I put this video together is because I want you to think about something. I want you to think of the fact that any time that somebody created something that was new and that nobody had seen, there was a lot of controversy behind it. Picasso's stuff, nobody liked it. The Surrealists, when they first came out, nobody liked that stuff, right? It was mostly art critics criticizing it. The Impressionist movement is actually a derogative term that was used in the newspaper to describe these artists that were not following the status quo. They weren't embraced and loved when they first got in the art scene, and their art wasn't considered real art. And that's the thing to remember. Create what you want to create, because art is expressive. There is no rule that says this is art and this isn't art. And I know that there's people out there that are real popular because they love putting other people's artwork down and saying, well, that's not real art, that's bullshit. Here's the school where you can learn how to be a real artist and all that shit. And it's like, listen, if you are expressing yourself, if you are creating stuff and putting it out there, then you're an artist. Plain and simple. You don't need anybody's validation. They could go eat a bag. At the end of the day, and I know that this is my opinion, really, when it comes to what is real art and what isn't real art, it's all a bunch of opinions flying around out there. And, you know, everybody has an opinion. Opinions are like, you know what. The fact of the matter is, there are no rules that could tell you what is real art and what isn't real art. So when it comes to your art, you determine for yourself what is real art, and let other people out there worry about that stuff. Just create it, put it out there, and let them argue amongst themselves. And that's it, you guys. Hopefully you found this video helpful, or whatever it is that you found it. But yeah, I just wanted to share those thoughts with you. And I want to give a big shout out to the Rogue Artist community. I love, love, love our Rogue Artist community. They're the reasons that we're able to do these videos and put them out there. So thank you. And I think that's about it. You want to say goodbye, Clee?
Good day.
And thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are absolutely freaking amazing. I totally adore you. And if you like this and you want to subscribe to more, just go ahead and click right over here. And that's it. Let me get to working on some real art. All right. Bye, you guys. Adios.